late overtime, and from start of the second half.
All right, let's get started. Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pray. Would you join us in prayer? Heavenly Father, thank you so much for allowing us to gather here tonight. Just guide our thoughts as we make decisions for the school corporation and important decisions about kids. Please be with us as we do this. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock sharp on February 13th. I think we're going to start off with the recognition of students of the month. Mr. George, would you like to start?
Sure. And everybody out there, please feel free to file in as close as you can. It's just fine.
Our students of the month both were chosen from first grade classrooms. Our first one is Lily Blaisdell, and I think she was sick today. Yes. So she is not here, but I will read what her teacher wrote anyway. She's in Miss Evans / Mrs. Hill's classroom. Lily Blaisdell is an all-around outstanding student. She follows directions, stays focused, and always puts forth 110% in everything that she does. She is the first student to offer help to another, regardless of what the need is. Lily always has a positive attitude and does what is expected of her with a smile on her face. So that was Lily Blaisdell. And our other student of the month is in Mrs. Brown's first grade class, and he is here. So I'll have Jackson come on up here with me. And this is Jackson Bertelson, and Mrs. Brown wrote that Jackson is such a respectful and hardworking student. He is kind to his classmates and is a great leader in our classroom, always trying to do the right thing and always setting a good example for others. I can always count on him to be very helpful. He gets along well with everyone, and his positive attitude makes our classroom a better place. In addition to all of that, Jackson has made such amazing academic achievements this year. He has overcome prior struggles in reading and writing and is on or above grade level in every subject area. His growth so far this year has been absolutely remarkable, and I'm so proud of all of his hard work and enthusiasm that he is now showing for school. He puts in his best effort 100% of the time, and it shows. I am so thankful to be his teacher, and I am excited to see how much he accomplishes the rest of this year. This is Jackson Burleson.
Mr. Martindale, would you like to go next?
I'd love to. So first off, I know a lot of people, you see a lot of the kids here. We as the middle school brought in our 7th grade boys basketball team. I'm sure everybody on TV and social media saw the game on January 16th against LCIS. Just as a quick recap that they haven't, there was a kid there that had some health issues, and our boys took it upon themselves to help that kid score a basket in the game. And I think one of the things that's really cool, and I haven't told them this yet, this was not adult driven. There was no adult telling them what to do in this. It was player driven. And so as an athletic director, I think that's really neat because that's a high character kid. And parents, I can give you an applause as well because of the way you've raised them. But as an athletic director, I like seeing the high character stuff. And so in the game of life, we love winning. Athletics, we love winning. But that was a huge win on top of that. And so the ones, I don't know, there might be some around the corner or not, so I'm going to read off all of them. If you guys hear your name, call them on up. Evan Pate. Dylan Kirkwood. Carter Bailey. Ben Graves. Is he here tonight? Oh, no. Kyan Hudson. Not here. Bradley Inlow. You guys can spread out a little bit. Eli Austin. Noah Pope. Xavier Weiss. Jet Blaze. Sick. Caleb Rippey. Andrew Zink. I didn't miss anybody, did I? All right. So, guys, we appreciate it. You put a lot of positive spin on Eastern. We appreciate it.
Hey guys, I want to say something. Yeah, I've been around this school for a long time, and I have to say I've probably never seen a finer example of sportsmanship out of Eastern Green.
Ever. That was beautiful.
If I could say something, I've coached basketball here for 20 plus years. I've never seen anything cooler than that right there. And parents, like Nathan said, you should be congratulated too, because fine group of young men right here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, I have two. Am I in? Not in?
Now you are.
All right. I have two. The first one is Kaylee Hammer. Kaylee, all of her teachers commented on just what a great leader she is, how attentive to her schoolwork she is, how hardworking she is, and I want to add she's doing an awesome job on the bowling team. I was able to go and support them during their sectional play, and was very proud of you. So, congratulations.
Hey, Eric, can you guys turn around so she can get a good picture? Yeah. This is a mom thing. Very good.
Awesome job. Next one. I've had the pleasure of having this gentleman for the past 4 years, and I'm going to say that 4 years was enough. He brings a lot of humor to our day, whether it's singing Mariah Carey and doing an impression, which also went viral, or FFA and his antics in FFA. He's just a genuinely good kid to be around. We talk often about his truck. So I'll make the plea for him. If anyone would like to donate parts.
It's on YouTube, so.
Yeah. Please send him his way. So, Mr. Robertson, come on down. I was just joking about the 4 years.
All right, now we have a presentation. Do you
Well,
want
I'm going to let any of the parents and students do not feel bad if you want to leave at this point. You're not going to hurt our feelings. I know you've got probably homework and kids to feed, so if you want to leave, please feel free to do so at this time. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Yeah, so next, something that's not on the agenda, this is my fault. Mr. Kirkendall shared some very good information with the board on our SAT scores that we got back, and Sharon actually made the suggestion of why don't we have a presentation on this so we know more about how our kids did and how we got them to that point. And like I said, the superintendent forgot to put that presentation on there, but they are here and they are prepared and ready to go, so take it away.
Go ahead.
Yes, I actually have to give Miss Tara credit. She's the one that actually asked the question, hey, how did we do in comparison to everyone else in the county when it came to our SAT scores? And just real quick, I'm going to give them an opportunity to talk and kind of talk personally about what they've done in their classrooms. But just to recap for everyone, Eastern Green overall, out of all the Greene County schools, scored by far the highest in their SATs last year. In math, we were at a rate of pass rate of 45%. In English, we were in a passing percent of 55. The next highest in both of those categories in math was 23%, which is 20 points less, over 20 points less. And then in English, the next highest was 47, which is roughly about almost 10 points. So our teachers have done a fantastic job. And so I wanted to kind of talk a little bit real quick before they got up. One of the biggest things that I have preached since day one that I've been here is building relationships with our kids. We do not have the luxury of being a Carmel or being one of those the schools that has every latest fashion with doctor and lawyer and university kids left and right. We have a few, but what we do have is passionate and compelling staff. They've done an amazing job, and that's not just in English and math. That is every content, and I have absolutely no problem comparing our staff to any other staff in Indiana. They are second to none. But we've preached relationships and building those relationships, making sure that kids want to come to school. We certainly have great students and parent support, which I always really appreciate. But I'm incredibly proud of the teachers and the teachers' efforts because they make school fun. And quite honestly, just in general, to speak about kind of what I've kind of asked of the teachers, I want them to be building application-focused and skill-driven instruction. And so you're going to, as I talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening at Eastern Green High School later on, you'll see some of that in play. But real quick, I'm going to pass this on to Ms. Tartt.
That's fine.
All right, and then Ms. Shively will finish up.
Okay, so math, do you have the scores for the other parts of the county?
I do.
Let's just talk. While we're here, we gotta have some hair flips.
There you go.
Because, okay, we came out at 45.6, which I'm sure you noticed. The next closest to us was 23. Then it dropped to 18. Then it dropped to 16, down to 10. Well, I did a little more. I'm a numbers gal. That's what I do. And so I did a little more comparison, I'll hand that back to you, of Southern Indiana. Okay, so there were 2 schools. I looked as far as Center Grove all the way to Jasper. 2 schools in Southern Indiana were ahead of us. Bar Reef, they typically are. Bloomington South. No other school was ahead of us. We tied with Center Grove is what we were. And so, reason. All right, so what happened, Mr. Kirkendall and Kayla came to us, well, first started with me in the summer before, and told me that we were switching to the SAT. And so the first thing I requested were the SAT books, the prep books, because the SAT changed. It's more like the ACT now. And it used to be, if you guys remember back in the day when we took it, you weren't supposed to guess. If you couldn't narrow it down. Okay, it's no longer like that. And it's no longer, the SAT was a predictor, and now it's more of the frame of what do you know. And so it's more like the ACT. So I needed new books. And so he ordered me the books that I wanted. I started in the summer, started going through things. In October, our kids take the PSAT. All right, so at the PSAT, Khan Academy has now College Board and Khan Academy have gone together. And I was able to have each of my students, all the juniors that we had, upload their scores from the PSAT into Khan Academy. They all then come to me. So then I spent my Christmas break, this is what I do, I spent my Christmas break coming up with where are the gaps? Where are the gaps? We've had in the math department, I started this started 2 years ago, and it's still what I preach to them. We just had a meeting on Friday. If you find a hole, fill it. We're wall boarders. I mean, we're plasterers. And so right now, especially due to COVID, kids have gaps. They've got holes. And so our number one, even if you have to take a day, you got to take a day and you got to fill kids' holes. That's our number one. If you find a hole, fill it. Don't just jump over the hole. Don't let the kids just keep jumping over these holes, because then by the time they hit pre-calc or calculus with me, I don't even have a rope that I can throw them. And so that's kind of our number one. And that starts in Algebra 1 all the way up through calculus. I still have kids in calculus that I'm trying to fill holes back from pre-calc or back from Algebra 2. You have to fill the holes if they're going to be successful. So with that in mind, when I went through Khan Academy, I looked for our holes. Where are the holes at? And so I brought you some samples because I know you all have so much free time.
Sure.
That what I did then was when we came back from Christmas break, Scott, you can share with them.
Sure.
When we came back from, I said, Heather, you're not going to look at it, honey, I know.
I'll take 100 of my kids.
I was going to say, take it out to read, guys, and let them look. But anyway, we came back from Christmas break, and I said, what we're going to do, and which several of you have either been through calculus with Miss Kaywood, or you have had kids go through calculus with me, or so forth, several of you, and we do packets a week to keep Spiral reviewing. And so that's what I did over Christmas break. I found what our holes were, and I developed packets to use, and these are the pre-calc packets, but I had packets for pre-calc and packets for Algebra 2. And so we came back, and so the 4 weeks or 5 weeks prior to the SAT, we did a packet a week. We added into that, especially with the Algebra 2 kids, we had some Algebra 2 classes that only had 1 or 2 juniors in it. So I couldn't justify giving it to the sophomores at this point because they need it when they're juniors, right before they take the SAT. So then we have our after-school tutoring program. I took Brittany, and she then did SAT prep for the juniors who weren't in a junior class, and then worked with them on these same packets. And so we kind of went through a lot of the times with the packets and doing the after-school tutoring and some of that. But then I'll tell you, one of the big things, and this is what a lot don't realize, we pushed hard that this test was accessible to pass with everybody. In order to get state proficiency, you only need a 51.7% correct rate. All right, we got kids who are, as soon as we take their calculators away, they literally shake when we take their calculators away. But the main thing I pointed out to them, and this is what we did across the board in the math department, that there are 58 questions total on the test for math. 38 of them are calculator. Only 20 are no calculator. You only need to get 30 right of the 58. And so once we kind of convince them that, look, you got a 25% chance. Even if you put all A on the no calculator portion, you're going to get a couple 3 right. Answer the calculators. And the no calculator, if you don't like it, don't do it. Focus over here. Go where you're comfortable. The last thing that I want to point out that we did, and this is one that I will eventually here be asking for some more money. So I'm just going to get my plea in here while I'm here, is the test is now, as you know, on the computer. They all go to the gym, they sit at tables in the gym, and there is an online calculator, which we will be able, when we go one-to-one next year, be able to use that online calculator more in the math classrooms. But the kids can use their own graphing calculator, handheld. They don't have to use the online calculator. So typically, graphing calculators do not come into play at Eastern until pre-calc. That's when I require that they're bought. Okay, so the next thing that I've implemented that we started last year, continues into this year, we're getting those calculators in the hands of our freshmen. We're getting them in the hands of the freshmen, hands of the sophomores, Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, so that then when they get to the test, a lot of them are using our old school calculators that are dying rapidly. I mean, I've had these calculators now for, gosh, probably 15 years. And what used to be my class set of 30 is now down to about a class set of 12 is where I'm at, because they're just dying. I mean, they're just too old. So that'll be my plea, is for some more graphing calculators for us to be able, because I don't want to require the kids to buy them at the freshman and sophomore level, not until they hit pre-calc, especially if they're not headed to pre-calc, but I need them in their hands, because that's what we did last year. And so when these kids went to take their SAT, they all carried, and they were all borrowing calculators from the seniors who had them, and they all went in with graphing calculators in their hands that they could use themselves. And they were a lot more comfortable punching it themselves and trying to click buttons on a screen. And so that's about it. That's, I say, other than that, you have any questions for me? What you got, Sharon?
Nothing.
We're still processing.
Yeah, we're still processing.
We're still processing.
Hey, I am
Give me a spell check.
teacher
I'll
mode.
get it.
You teach them.
Psychology.
I have
appreciate
44
that.
minutes in a classroom to cover everything I need to cover, and I was on a timeline. All right.
Thank you,
Amy,
Tracy.
you're up.
Thank you.
Wow, I can't,
You don't have to.
I feel like underprepared because I'm gonna read from mine.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a reader.
Well,
Sorry, I'm a talker.
all right, so as the junior in English, senior English teacher, my role in the SAT testing is part of a continuum that begins in the freshman year. Last year, I taught roughly 20 AP students at the junior level. So my part in the SATs last year was pretty minimal. However, I did have every junior as a sophomore when I taught sophomore 2 years ago. I've always taught reading comprehension with an attempt to push past what's on the surface, try to implement critical thinking skills, and asking the larger question of so what? Why did a writer choose a specific rhetorical strategy? Who's the audience? What's the greater implication to your own life? I also incorporated a lot of nonfiction as a lens, whether it's to accompany the text or lead up to the main source material. I include a lot of nonfiction between science, history, technology, music, and just culture. This year I brought in a Vietnam veteran to make a novel that I taught more real, and the kids were very responsive to that. I also have my students writing, whether it's a micro-theme, summary, analysis. I make my kids write constantly, and I drag them kicking and screaming all the time, and they know when I, ink all over their paper, I do it with love, but I have them writing. And some of them are writing complex sentences now, which makes my heart grow. But helping our students become better readers and writers is a village effort. And it begins with Mrs. Bartlett, our freshman English teacher, who works with grammar, speeches. She uses a lot of Greek mythology. That's her passion. Our students are then building upon those skills with Mr. Babcock, our new sophomore English teacher, who's also teaching AP Lang to our juniors. He encourages vocabulary development. He's really strong with technology. He teaches rhetoric. And then me, I love Shakespeare. I love dystopia. So that's my niche. And then Mrs. Van Devender, our librarian, she teaches our dual credit through Ivy Tech. And while she doesn't necessarily have the juniors, she does impact every single student who comes through our school. She works with our English department, my colleagues, helping to revamp curriculum. We're working right now on more vertical alignment, trying to, as Tracy was talking about, fill in those gaps so our kids can continue to succeed. And our students, they did perform exceptionally well in the SATs, considering the COVID loss and those learning gaps. So I'm exceptionally proud of our kids and my colleagues in the English department. So that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
No, we sure appreciate all you're doing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
It's wonderful to see the high scores, but it's cooler to find out what happened. What were you doing? What did you put in place to make that happen? And so, thank
It's
you.
going to be tough to go up from here, all you numbers people. Just play that game.
No, I get averages and stuff. I
Yeah.
get where you're
It's
going.
going to be tough.
I get that.
Yeah, I mean, it will be that.
It's not linear.
Okay, yeah, so, but y'all did get that plea for some calculators, right?
Heard loud and clear.
All right, gotcha.
I have a couple old ones at home. But I have a lot of stuff
Graphing calculators?
programmed into there. Yeah.
125 a piece.
$120 a piece. Yeah, they're pricey.
How much would it be total?
How much of it what?
How many do we need?
How many do we want?
How many do we need?
30.
Yeah, I say.
So what's that, $4,000?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to give her the money she needs to buy the calculator.
I think we can make that happen.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to say something. I really appreciate the conversation, I fill the gap. I love that
That's,
slogan, right? And the, for the school. I
COVID's
know-
got lots of gaps.
I know, and I just, coming back onto the board, I'm really excited
And
to
it's
hear.
just not the kids'
that
fault,
we're-
not the teacher's
No.
fault. I mean,
No.
it just happened.
It's
So
the
we have to
reality
take
what
care
we
of
have,
it.
right? It's the reality of what we have, and
Yeah,
you guys are doing great work on that.
thank you.
Really, really appreciate that.
Thanks, Kim.
And I hear you taking your personal time, the summer, the Christmas break, and that's so appreciated.
Thank you. I've done that for years.
I was gonna say, you've done that since I was in school.
And I'm really hoping you'll hang on for the 3 that have benefited from it, so.
All right, that it? Okay. So now we come to the part of the meeting about participation. The board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and importance of allowing members of the public to express concerns regarding agenda items. To promote fair and orderly public expression, the board will provide a period for public comment, regular public meetings of the board meeting agenda items only. Do we have anybody interested in talking? Nope. Okay, I'm not going to read anymore. Okay. Next item is the adoption of agenda. It is recommended that the agenda for February 13th, 2023 meeting be approved as presented with additions, corrections, or deletions as recommended by the board. Do we have any of those? Okay, we have a motion to approve it by Sharon. Do we have a second by Natalie? All those for? 700. Okay, it is recommended that the minutes from the January 9th, 2023 meetings be approved as presented.
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion by Natalie. Do we have a second? Okay. Dennis did the second. All those for approving the minutes? Okay, that's 700. Okay, it's recommended that the claims number 15797 through
15962.
15962 be approved as presented. Anybody comment before we make a motion on the claims? Nope. Okay, do we have a motion? Heather? Okay, Michael second it. All those for? 700. Okay, I will hand the corporation business over to
Okay,
you.
thank you. First up, I'm making a recommendation for the board to approve the purchase of 4 2024 buses on a lease-to-own program. This is not the first time that we would have taken part in this. Matter of fact, I think when I came here, we were in the last couple years of paying some buses off with the same program. It's really advantageous for a school like us who, you know, we don't have the hundreds of thousands to millions that other bigger schools can spend on just buses alone. So as I keep reading here, it kind of describes how this works. So it'd be a 5-year lease, yearly payments of $30,606 per bus. That would make a total yearly payment of $122,424 with a total purchase price over those years of $612,120. If you look at what the cost of a brand new bus is right now with no other options, just coming off the line right now, they're $140,000. And then you start adding the options we need, like chains and other things like that, it just increases the price. So for us to get a yearly payment of what we're getting, it's very good. And also when you take into account that we were spending about $120,000, $125,000 sometimes on 2 used buses. For years since I've been here, we never bought a brand new bus. Dennis has went out and found some really good buses that have 2, 3, 4 years on them, reasonable miles, they're in good shape, and we're paying 65, 70 grand for them. So to get brand new buses for this lease to own, it's a great deal. And I want to give Dennis all the credit on this. He keeps his ear out there for what deals we have, and he's got a dealer he works with that knows what our situation is and will throw good deals our way. So Dennis is invaluable in this situation. So I think it's a situation we can't turn down. We need to move forward on it.
When will these be delivered?
August. That's another good thing. Thank you for pointing that out, Mike, because in the past, and not too distant past, buses have been anywhere from a year to a year and a half out before you can get them. There's a situation where somebody backed out on a deal is what it was, and we're the beneficiary of swooping in and getting these buses that were already going to be built anyway. So yeah, they're going to have them ready in August.
That's all.
Can you give a quick overview about how we get money specifically for transportation?
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
kind of a 50,000-foot overview.
Yeah,
So that that doesn't compete with like education supplies and.
right. So what happens? We used to have, before the state changed everything, used to have a separate transportation budget that taxes went into. The state changed that all around, so now the transportation budget actually gets put in with
Okay.
the education fund. But what the state allows us to do is we can transfer money, no more than 15%, out of education into other areas to pay for things like transportation and some salaries and things like that. So the state is actually funding a lot of that now. Now, we still do get some transportation money that comes through property taxes and
Okay.
things like that, but a lot of it is a one lump sum we get from the state, and we have to make the decision on how much we're transferring
Okay.
out and spending on transportation.
I have another question, just clarification. So in our bus replacement plan, we basically had a bus a year, I think, right?
Or a couple, yeah.
We started out, when I'd first come on the board, of doing 4 every 4 years.
Okay.
So we'd buy a block of 4 and then do another 4, and we kind of got off that because it was getting hard to.
Yeah, to afford it.
to
So now we have it set up where we're typically doing at least 2 every year, it seems like. Sometimes if we can afford a third one, we'll do that. But yeah, what other part of your question? Or
Yeah, I was just doing some math.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
How many buses do we have?
that
Oh,
we
boy.
use.
Like we use, I guess.
I am not completely sure how many we have that are used daily. I mean, it's at least 14 to 15, I would say. And we have a few that we keep on the,
I think in our elementary, we have about 18.
okay.
That line up out there.
That line up
everywhere.
outside.
Yeah.
18.
You get bored sometimes and count them.
I have counted them before, that's how.
And then we have a few that we keep as backups. They're some of our older ones, and we keep those as backups in case something happens to. I mean, they're in good working condition. They run, but we just don't want to use them for everyday use. So those are backups.
And then we have the white bus, but that can't be used.
Right, that's pretty much athletics.
And then the minibuses. 4 minibuses?
Yes.
So when these 4 come in, we'll let some of those roll out and we'll sell them?
We'll retire other ones. Yep. We'll try to get some money out of them.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this? Mike? Second? Dennis? All those 4. 700.
Thank you. Next up, and I'll describe a little bit of what's going on here too. I'm making the recommendation to create and post a full-time art position in the middle school for the 23-24 school year. We are trying to play a little bit of catch-up in some ways. At the high school, we're looking at creating more pathways toward graduation for kids. You know, if kids don't pass standardized testing, things like that, there's other ways they can still graduate. Pathways are one of them. I think here, most recently, we have how many pathways? 5, 6?
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe or a couple of those might not even be complete pathways.
Correct, yeah.
So when you look around at some of our other county schools, they have about double that. So it's a couple. It's twofold. We want to create the opportunities for our kids to graduate when they can't go through a different path to do that. So we're creating graduation pathways. But let's face it, it's also a bit of a competition. We have to stay up with what everybody else is doing so that we can say, hey, come to Eastern, here's what we have. So we, to have the ability to create a few more pathways at the high school, we needed to take Mr. Zapata and Mrs. Linville. Mrs. Linville teaches ag, Mr. Zapata teaches art, and take them out of the middle school because they were a shared teacher and they need to be full-time at the high school to fulfill these pathways. Well, when I take some of those electives away from the middle school, we can't just say, oh, too bad, nothing left for you to do here. No electives for middle school kids. We put our brains together and said, what can we do to provide for the middle school kids? And we came up with, well, let's get a full-time art teacher and provide even more art at the middle school, because not all middle school kids were getting art. This way, I think we can give most grade levels at the high school the chance to have more art. So yeah, that's why I am recommending we hire that position.
Any comment?
So I have a question on, so your high school art teacher now has one period that they teach middle school art, correct?
Mm-hmm. I think is it just one that he's over at the middle school for?
Yes, he's there for one period, yes.
He's there for one period, okay.
And by moving him to the high school, we are able to have a complete fine arts pathway, and offer an AP option for art, and then he will also be teaching the Introduction to Education class for the education pathway.
So in your education pathway, what other courses tie into that then?
So there is, so we have the Introduction to Education class that Mr. Zapata will be running. And then after that, there is a child development class that Ms. Provo will be teaching.
Okay.
And then we are going to be looking probably at that last component, the more advanced education class, probably midway through this upcoming year. So we have not filled that position with a teacher yet. So kind of want to build the plane and fly it at the same time.
Right, we do that a lot at my work too, so that's
Unfortunately, we do,
exciting,
yeah.
you're right,
Yeah.
so.
And sometimes you have to do that because until kids there's prerequisites, so they don't need those classes. So why build it right now when you're not gonna have any kids able to take it? So get them through these prerequisites, and then we'll have a teacher ready once they get
Create
done with
the
those. Yeah.
Correct.
So at the middle school, then, the way things are today, a middle school student in 7th grade, how much art do they get now?
I don't know. Patrick's.
When I look at the
Without looking at the master schedule, I'm not sure. And Patrick's not here. Patrick could tell you, but
I feel like the first time my child had art was this year. Well, besides like the 5th grade, it was still elementary art.
I don't think
I thought
seventh
that too.
grade has ours.
I think 7th grade does.
Carter's the 7th grade.
Yeah.
one. I don't think they
I was
have
thinking
ours.
it was
I
only
think it's an 8th grade
eighth,
rotation.
eighth grade only, I think.
And they only get it one.
I think it might be a
one.
Yeah.
1 quarter.
Nine days.
Yeah, it's a 1 9-weeker, I think.
Not enough.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So what do they take the other 3 quarters then? Music,
It's so there's a health class in 8th grade. There's a
health, music.
yeah. The art, there's the French culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
careers.
career, yes.
Careers.
Yes.
Careers,
Yeah.
isn't, we do that in 8th grade? right?
Yeah, we have Kathy Aldridge.
These right here that are going to rotate.
Okay,
Within the
so
quarters.
every quarter.
All the purple ones.
Right.
We have Kathy Aldridge for another year and a half through a grant through SIEC to help with the career building. It's kind of playing right into what we're doing at the high school, so it's kind of nice that we.
And right now, 7th grade has PE all year because they don't have any other elective for them to have.
Right.
Which the kids probably, most kids don't mind that, but some do.
So
Be nice to have variety too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, I guess my main question, the reason I question, I don't want to micromanage that at all, but my main question from a bigger view of the organization is where does the next step happen? I mean, I know we're flying the plane in the middle of the air, but what is really our vision for the next 2 years or the next year and a half or the next curriculums? And where's that moving us to, right? So, I'd like to have some further discussion about that at some point.
Sure.
Another board meeting maybe, but, to understand that a little better.
Absolutely.
You mean how the middle school's working into the high school?
Yeah, how even the 5th and 6th graders are moving into, their curriculum pieces at 5th and 6th grade, how that feeds to middle and how that moves on up to high. It's been, I don't have any kids in school right now, thank goodness. But I will have some grandkids in the future, right? So, but I'm excited to see some of the cool things going on in our region. And I know Eastern is an early college school. We got great, good selling points for a lot of things when people come here. So I just would like to challenge us to make sure we know what we're doing in the next 2 to 3 years and where we're growing to as a full board and full organization. So I'd just like to be brought up to speak with that.
We will definitely, as we continue to build this, we'll definitely make some presentations
Yeah.
for you guys.
Okay.
Any other comments?
I have one more question. If we
Sure.
have a need for another teacher in the future, do we have a budget for it?
Yeah, I think we're doing pretty well right now. I mean, I'm not gonna, we still have to keep an eye on it, obviously, and be careful with where we need to hire at, but yeah, I think our budget looks good right now in the education fund.
When did you say we lose the careers class?
We have Kathy for the rest of this year and next year,
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have her next year.
Yep.
Next year, yes, okay.
and that grant runs out.
That grant, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve our position.
Okay.
I second that.
Well, hang on. Let me
I'm almost out of-
Jeez,
I'm
people,
almost
come
out of
on.
water. It's been a long meeting.
I can grab you.
I just,
No,
no,
it's
it's okay, because then I'll have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, well, you steal my thunder about asking for a motion, so. All right, all those for? 7-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have some equipment we would like to dispose of. So I'm recommending we dispose of an oven in Faith Ransford's elementary classroom, and then surplus items from the high school that you were provided.
A motion? Heather?
I was wanting to trade it for a bus, but I guess if it's not working.
You're not gonna get a bus out of it.
Natalie seconded, all those for? Thrown away.
I'm sorry, I had a question.
Sure.
How do we dispose and let the public know that's available? Do we do that, or do you?
It depends on if it's even something the public would want. Most of the stuff is,
Not just surplus items, I don't know. I mean, you look at the IU surplus webpage and they've got all kinds of
well,
stuff. in
I
it.
guess I don't know that we necessarily meant we were going to, yeah. that's
Dispose of it.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be more disposal.
Okay.
'Cause it's stuff
Yeah.
that's not,
Scrap.
nobody's
Okay.
gonna want.
Okay.
No,
Mostly,
because in the past, if there's stuff, we've sold it, like buses, and
yeah.
Mhm.
so I think they've,
Yeah, this is pretty much stuff that it's not workable anymore,
Bunch of
type stuff.
Our process for.
Yeah. But yeah, if there's stuff that we're gonna get rid of that, the public, and it's advantageous for us to sell it and somebody wants it, we would, get word out through Facebook and however else we would
yeah.
list that for
Okay.
public, absolutely.
Okay, oh, sorry.
Resignations, no, you're fine. Do you have some resignations? First off, ELC instructional assistant, recommending to approve the resignation of Ashley Ball as an ELC instructional assistant.
Have a motion? Natalie, second. Sharon, all those for?
Okay.
7-0.
And a recommendation to approve the resignation of Hillary Steimel as a Title I instructional assistant in the elementary.
Have a motion? Kim, second. Heather, all those for? Heather, are you?
Oh, yeah, I have one.
Okay, 7-0.
Okay. Making the recommendation tonight to approve the renewal of Travis Ray as the varsity football head coach for the 2023 season.
Motion. Mike, second by Heather. All those for?
Okay.
7-0.
Thank you. Have some high school track and field recommendations. This is for the upcoming spring 23 season. Have Adam Anderson as assistant coach pole vault, Jason Childress assistant coach throwing, Alex Bruff as assistant coach high jump, and Shelly Tarr as volunteer coach long jump.
Wait, hang on, I have a quick. So the first three will be paid?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe that's what that means. Those will be paid
Okay, I
positions.
just want to make sure. Okay. Sharon made the motion.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, Dennis beat you to it.
Okay.
Dennis made the second. All those four. It's cutthroat up here, people.
Natalie and ours aren't sitting next to each other today. We're usually throwing elbows.
My batteries are wearing out.
Okay.
Middle school track and field, recommending to approve Curtis Moffitt as middle school track and field coach for spring 2023. Jake Cole and Curtis Moffitt will be co-coaching boys and girls middle school track.
Okay, motion Dennis, second by Natalie, and all those four, 7-0-0.
Thank you. We have one donation, recommending to approve $915.22 from the Eastern Green High School class of 2022 to the Eastern Green High School ECA Graduation Fund.
Okay, do I have a motion? Heather, second by Mike, and all those four, 7-0-0.
Thank you. No late items, so any discussion? We'll start with elementaries. Elementary want to go first?
Sure.
Have anything?
Just a couple of notes that I put. I already read that. First, want to thank the ladies of Salisbury Christian Church. I never know where Lisa's doing or where she is.
She's in
Right,
there.
she's
Oh, there she is. And our team rally, which is our culture climate committee, for the awesome lunch and snacks all day today, for Love Like Hacker Day. And the ladies of Salisbury Christian Church brought in taco soup for lunch for both the elementary and middle school staff, and that was very much appreciated. I haven't eaten and probably won't eat dinner. I'm still stuffed from all the junk food that I ate today. Our second grade pajama party concert was last Thursday. I want to thank Mrs. Erica Drummond and the second grade teachers for their hard work on that concert. It's very nice, obviously, to see families able to come in and see some of the things that our students are doing in person. I really enjoyed that show. Sharon was there. It was
great.
a fun evening for sure. Thank you to David, Todd, Dennis, and the maintenance staff for installing a new slide on the playground during some of the nicer weather last week. Some of you know another slide was broken recently, and Mandy Buskirk has really just taken off with student council and a fundraiser and grant writing to work towards making continuous improvements to our playground. I'm told that I'll be kissing some sort of farm animal soon for their efforts in raising money. But Mandy is, she makes me tired. She has a motor that just doesn't stop.
Are we going to do this kissing at the board meeting, or are we going to do this during school hours?
I don't know. All
Okay.
they said was, "Will you kiss some sort of animal?" And I said, "I guess I will."
Okay.
I did a sheep. It's really fun.
A sheep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather, that's okay.
Do you think the kids would get it if you kissed an animal, the puppet? They probably wouldn't get it, would they? They're probably too young for
Like the
that.
Muppets?
Well, it
Yeah.
took me a second to realize what you were talking about.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Showing my age here.
We do have
Sorry.
Book Fair and Read Across America coming up at the end of this month, and we'll ask parents and families to kind of be on the lookout for the newsletter for dress up days, as we plan to have Spirit Week during that time. I think that's the last week of February into the first week of March, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
Thanks. And we are preparing, I couldn't remember if I mentioned this or not last time. I think I did, but just in case, the iRead is coming up for third graders on March 7th and 8th. We have elected to also test our second graders. That is, if they pass it as a second grader, they don't have to then do it again in third grade. But we thought that it would be a good kind of data point for us to kind of see where they were and kind of maybe not only get ourselves but families in gear a little bit to say, hey, this is kind of where we are, this is where we need to be. There will be no retention or anything in the second grade. There's no threat of that. Like there is in the third grade with the iRead, but we thought it would be nice to be able to have that as an extra data point.
Can I ask a question? Is that pass
Yes.
it like as a grade or pass it individually
It's individual.
for the second graders? Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And then, lastly, congratulations to our students of the month, Lily Blaisdell and Jackson Burleson. And Also, the 7 o'clock board meetings are fantastic. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And that's all I've got. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You good?
Mr. Martindale?
I wasn't ready for this part.
No, you're good.
Don't you teach your
I mean, I can go
students
ahead
to
and
always
say
be
things if you
prepared?
want to, but I think everybody wants to go home.
Okay.
Natalie has to pee.
Yeah.
I have a drinking problem.
I would also like to extend my gratitude to the ladies of Salisbury Christian Church. They'll be coming in later on this week to serve us taco soup, and they did something similar last year, and I know that was very much appreciated. So, since our last board meeting, we had our scheduling night mid-January. It was a massive success. We had quite a few students come out. One of the things that we did that made it very successful is we said, hey, you want your scheduling sheet? Come and get it. So, and so that was very beneficial to us. I think the teachers also enjoyed it a lot better than.
Best class reunions ever. I knew all those parents.
So
much fun.
yeah, so what we ended up doing is housing all the teachers in the gym and then having the students come in so where the teachers could talk about the classes that we offer. We were also able to kind of do that for our AP classes, our CTE classes, so that everyone kind of has an idea. I think we'll probably end up doing that format again next year. Also, I'd like to wish best of luck to our boys basketball team as they begin to end their season. I believe next week is the last season game, and then they'll be entering tournament play. So, I think 2 weeks from now. So, along those lines, I want to really thank Mr. Aaron Buskirk and his entire family, Mandy, Silas, and Kyler. What people don't see is the dedication after the games. He and his family are oftentimes the last ones to leave. He's oftentimes out there with a blower blowing off the stands. The kids help. It's a love affair with that whole family. It's a love affair of our school, and so you're not going to find anyone more dedicated. And he takes some great pride in hosting sectionals and really does a good job. And so the whole reason why I brought this up was because we just got done hosting the girls basketball sectional, and we had fantastic numbers, and he did a really good job. So I really wanted to thank him for his efforts and also his family. I would invite all of you at next boys basketball game to come to the high school and check out our new trophy case. This is one of those things that I was kind of talking about. We did not have a company build that trophy case. We had Mr. Sean Van Devender's construction classes build that trophy case. It is beautiful. It is massive and it's heavy. We actually were able to go and get some white oak, and so it is a solid piece. Linton Glass will be out later on this week or early next week to actually install the glass portion of it. But his advanced construction class did a remarkable job, and I'm incredibly proud of Mr. Van Deventer and his students. It's very beautiful, so I invite you out to see it. So now I plan on filming it. So we will be conducting our SATs on March 2nd with all juniors, and just like last year, we intend on having all the juniors test in the gym on our Chromebooks. So we look forward to that. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about our JAG program. JAG stands for Jobs for America's Graduates. Back on February 2nd, Mr. Provo and I had the pleasure of going to their reception for their career development competition down in French Lick. what I didn't know and what the kids didn't know is that they were going to perform incredibly well. So out of all the JAG chapters in, I want to say the Upland Region 8 area, we ranked first.
Awesome.
In which we had nine awards that were actually presented. The next best was Mitchell with 7. And so I would like to very quickly recognize those kids that won. The competitions that they took place in were career development type skills, so soft skills. So for instance, and I'll just actually just read these, and you'll kind of get an idea of what I'm referring to. For career presentation, 3rd place went to Natasha Coswell. For creative solutions, David Newby got 2nd place. Critical thinking, Christopher Hooker placed 1st. For digital invitation or a cover design, Brielle Alexander placed 1st. For an entrepreneurship plan, Nico Carter and Brayton Enlow placed 3rd. For our outstanding senior, they were actually competing for a scholarship. O'Reilly Arwine placed 3rd. For the public speaking event, Samantha Kane placed 1st. I'm sure I could probably get some tips from her. And then our chapter brochure also placed 1st as a group. So again, out of I'm going to say 5 or 6 schools that were there, we placed 1st, and I was incredibly proud of them. They did a fantastic job, and it was awesome to see them so excited about building some of these soft skills. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a few quick things. I want to remind everybody the next board meeting is off just a little bit because of spring break, so it's actually March 20th. That's the 3rd Monday, not the 2nd. Also want to say good luck to boys basketball and other winter activities as they're wrapping up their activities for the winter season, and then say best of luck to our spring sports, which are getting started. It's still conditioning. It's not actual practices yet, but I know they're out there working hard, so good luck to them in the upcoming season. So that's all I have for right now.
Mike?
Hey, has anybody looked at that they're building that company down by Crane, or the chip company?
Yeah, the
Are
microelectronics.
we aware, is anybody looking at that area?
What do you mean?
Anything? Well, for students, speaking of students, they're supposed to bring in 500 boys.
Yeah, that's still in very
24,
initial.
right? I think.
They're starting right now.
I don't-
They're core drilling over there right now.
It's supposed to be done by 24, I thought.
I think so. I think maybe one of the first companies may be in there by then.
One of the pathways we're going to create at the high school is an engineering pathway, and we'll have to do some with some computer engineering. So we are hoping with everything we have in this area, Crane, stuff like this, that we can get them to partner with us to give us some resources for these kids.
I'm more talking about drawing some of the new families. Into
Oh, I
these,
got you.
and
That's what you're
Dayton
saying.
County always
Oh.
comes out and grabs them.
Well, I mean, that's
Housing
one-
is the issue.
Yeah, housing's the issue. There's that new subdivision in Scotland, but that feeds Bloomfield. It's housing and internet.
What happened to the one across the road
No, not enough water.
there? Well, I thought they were gonna put their own, they talked about putting their own water tower up.
They're-
No. I can tell you about that outside. It's long, but yeah, they're trying to find the county redevelopment commission is trying to find funding along with the county to run a new water line. They don't have the water capacity to do a big addition in there that any developer's
I knew
interested in.
that before, I thought they were looking at alternatives to bring one over or something.
Yeah, that's what we're working. It's about an $8 to $10 million project.
We'll just write a check.
Yeah, okay. It's gonna bounce through
Yeah, a little bit.
the ceiling.
I need some cash.
Trust me, we're doing that. Anything else?
No, that's,
No. Kip?
That's a great point. There's a lot of great opportunities coming around in the next couple of years here for our school. Eastern Green sits right in the hotbed of the life sciences industry, the naval and the contractor defense industry, and that works all the way from kids that want to be hands-on students and employees all the way up to scientists and PhDs and folks of all skill sets. So real excited about what's happened here just in our area. Wanted to thank you for the gym, the sign-up system at the gym. I got to visit that. That was amazing. If any of you got to see some of that, the number of kids and parents and the excitement, and wow, that's pretty cool. Like I said, a reunion there. And then I want to thank our Toby Thunderbird for all of his fundraising efforts. All the work that young man is doing in that project is just amazing. And yeah, that's it.
Toby Thunderbird's also bringing back some of the old pictures and things and finding a home for them, which have gotten lost along the way in different places and different moves. And that's, I've never seen anybody with such school spirit. It's really cool. I don't have anything, but I just piggyback on that.
I like to piggyback with Kim about the senior, or the open house at the high school, that I went as Nana and helped my freshman granddaughter get her classes. And I was so proud to see how easily she was able to go through. She's kind of shy, but she went table to table, could talk to the teachers, knew exactly, when she left the gym, she was sure about what she chose. And that was wonderful. She couldn't have done that if she just had a course description. So having the teachers there face to face, it was wonderful. And also, it was real fun, a pajama party.
Did you wear your pajamas?
I didn't.
Natalie?
I don't have anything today.
That's fine. Dennis?
Just thank the teachers for the good work they're doing, because I just heard on the news today, there's schools across the country, students can't even pass math and reading. So for all the teachers, just pass on how impressed we are and how much we appreciate that.
We have a lot to be proud of here.
We sure do. And thanks for getting the basketball team here.
Yes.
That was impressive.
Cut most of them, man. That was good.
I know.
I kind of choke up when I think about it. So.
That was pretty awesome that those kids did
I
that.
go with hard-nosed coaching, man, that kind of stuff. To be sure, I wouldn't be saying, what are you guys doing?
You could be a little soft in this. You could be a little soft.
All right, I think that's it. So it's recommended the meeting be adjourned at 8:02 p.m. Do I have a motion? Natalie, do I have a second?
Sure.
Heather? All those four? 7:00. That's a wrap.
All right.